Fun fact for you. The original title of the movie was 2X, Two Men, The Death of Jean Grey, but then they said, oh, that might spoil the movie for us. And they said, no.
I see. I thought the movie was X2 X Poo.
No, I think it was Josh was close because it was X, or no, it was 2X 2 Knighted, because originally there were supposed two of the X-Men were going to get knighted by the Queen in the end of this movie, like in
Like
Shanghai,
London 2.
like in Shanghai Nights with Owen Wilson and Jackie Chan, the sequel to Shanghai Noon.
I think it was
with the
actually
same
X2, they made another one.
I think it was X2. They hit the second Cerebro.
I thought it was XXX Tentacion.
I think
Well, he was in the second Cerebro when they, unfortunately.
The fact that we talked for 15 minutes
event.
and that was the best opening that we could all come up with. It speaks a lot to the mood that has been set from discussing possible openings for this film.
I don't think we're opening this film. I think we're just opening us talking about it.
Right, we're just opening
also,
the
Dalton,
podcast.
the way you're positioned in front of that, I think it's a leaf in your fish tank. It looks like you've got a weird spiky like bun or
Yeah,
something.
no, it does.
Yeah, well, now it doesn't. Now it looks like you have a sign on your head.
Yeah, it looked like you had like
flop it around.
man bun.
Yeah, smack it.
Yeah,
just play with it until it gets hard.
That's what's called a
Spit on it.
monstera plant.
That's actually
Yes,
what they
it
called
is.
me in high school, weirdly enough.
They called
It's
you
also, I think-
monstera plant?
Yeah, I never got it until now, but now that I'm seeing one, like it
I
makes
could
sense.
also,
Yeah,
I
like
could
not
be
so much
very-
anymore, but back then,
I could
I
be
mean, that
very
was me,
wrong
yeah.
in this, and I'm sure I am.
almost
I
definitely.
think over here it might be called a cheese plant.
Shut
Yeah.
up.
So
up.
So they're also known as a Swiss cheese plant.
Yeah, because they grow with holes in them.
Yeah, they will get holes in them. Yes, that's true.
Usually from caterpillars.
No, they just grow that
That
way.
explains it, because I always had caterpillars on me. High school. And that's what this movie's about.
It's
movie
English.
is
It's
about
about
high school.
Britain.
It's a story
well-
about family.
It's about family, but it's also about a school for
Gifted children.
people to come out as mutants.
And that's the
to their
funniest bit.
parents.
We'll get there.
We probably will, yeah.
We probably won't, if we're being honest.
No, we're not getting past the mimes at the beginning of the film.
There are
So
mimes?
triple X. Vin Diesel was in most of them.
Vin
And
Diesel was
Ice
in two
Cube-
of them, and Ice Cube was in the second one.
And then a rapper took
Right.
over the mantle? And then he died.
I
And
don't
then-
think so, but
And then Twitter bought his name.
his son has the same name as him, and he played him.
In straight
No,
out
that's
of
Ice
Compton.
Cube. That's Ice Cube. You're confusing the
not-
life of X with Ice Cube again.
What?
X did that
Uh,
song with Kanye on the unreleased
also-
Kanye album.
Also, just to answer your question, Dalton, yes, there are mimes in the movie. That's how they got all those people to stand still.
Oh, got it. Mimes, as in people who don't move. As
Yeah,
opposed to
the-
people who only move and don't talk, which is what mimes are.
Right.
Well, yeah,
Oh.
they stand still too.
Josh, you're such a perfect fit for this podcast.
So yeah, we
X-Men
watched
2.
the second X-Men movie.
Before we jump into this, go ahead and
X2.
send this movie to someone you
X2
know who can
maybe?
shapeshift.
Send this movie to someone you know.
Oh, okay, yeah, just hey, go ahead and just type a random letter into your text message box, and the first name that pops up, text the link to this movie to them. And by movie, I mean podcast episode.
Yeah, or the movie also.
Yeah,
if
if
you want.
got it, just like unlock like that.
Right.
Um,
Send this to someone who smokes indoors and
Yeah.
asks for lighters at the mall when they want to smoke,
send this to someone
but they don't
you
get it,
know who
and
has...
instead they have to steal it, and then the person they steal it from makes them go on fire from their cigarette. But then luckily the other guy who's there, he puts him out with his ice powers. Send it to someone who that's happened to.
Send this to someone you know who has an excess amount of iron.
Sure.
Who may or may not have been drugged and just
Send this
with
to
a liquid.
someone who's been roofied.
Yeah, send this to someone you know who
Send
has.
this to someone who has gotten sludge injected into their
Somehow
rear
I forgot
end.
that this movie featured a roofing scene. Like I don't know why.
Well, Josh, we're not
how could
done
you
with
forget
the.
that it led to the sludge scene.
Right.
I
Well,
mean,
yeah, I knew it led to the sludge scene. I forgot that she like straight roofied him. I thought she just like
Hey,
jabbed
Josh,
him in an
real
alley or
quick. I
something.
know you're like fresh back and you're new or whatever, but we've still got the send this to someone who.
yeah, come on. If there is one thing in the world that the Semi-Pro Film Show podcast conglomerate corporation is known for, it's our consistency.
It's the send this to someone you know bit, which we do every week.
Right.
Okay.
And we never go off topic during it. That's never something we've ever done.
Ever.
So it could not happen, and it should not
send
now.
this to someone you know who reminds you of Josh. If you got like an incel friend who maybe is a Reddit mod or a Discord mod, send this to them. Maybe Discord mod. He's a little old, or a Reddit mod. Maybe
Right.
he's a little old to be a Discord mod. You know what I mean?
No, I think that fits the criteria.
Yeah, send this to them.
But send this to
Me.
Send this to someone named John, but who goes by Pyro.
Ooh, send this to someone named John who spells it Jon.
Sure.
I sure
send
do
this to
wonder why these people wouldn't be
send this to
hooked.
someone named John. No, we're past the hook.
Yeah, we've
Well,
already
yeah.
done
Send this to someone named John, but it's spelled Geon, like Jen. Maybe it'd be Jen, but they go by John.
So
Can I just
Josh,
start
the
talking
way
about
the way
X-Men 2, the
Josh,
video
real
game?
quick before we get into that,
No.
the way this bit works is we go until one of them is so funny we know we can't top it, and we just got there, so we're ready to move on to the next thing.
I don't think so.
I do.
Well, too bad, because
Yeah.
you're gonna tell us what happens in X tonight.
So X-Men 2: Logan's Revenge. It starts with
Is that what
it
the game
starts
is
with-
called?
yeah, it's called X-Men 2: Logan's Revenge.
Guys, I don't think that's the CD player.
Oh no, it's X2. I think it's X2 Wolverine's Revenge.
It's
I should
X
say.
too many Wolverines because there's
There's
multiple Wolverines
but there
and
was
they
multiple
fight
of
each
them
other.
in the last one.
But now, that was just the right amount. Now there's too many.
Oh, because now
No,
there's
X-Men.
3.
X-Men 2: Wolverine's Revenge is genuinely crap.
Of course it is.
Yeah, it's really good.
Tell
had-
me more, please.
They had the Arkham Knight like detective vision before that was a thing, but it was Wolverine's sense of smell. It was like
It was
weirdly
clearly
gory.
a thing if it existed.
Well, yeah, of course it was the thing, but it's like a proto version of it.
No, it wasn't the thing. The thing is
In
is
Fortnite,
a
he's
Jewish
chair.
man named Ben Grimm, and he's rocks, and they turned him into a chair in Fortnite. Idiot! Everyone knows that. You ever play Fortnite? Dumbass.
But yeah, no,
mean,
it's
shit.
super correct. Also, I think in the game, they talk about Nightcrawler leaving the X-Men, which is why he is in an X-Men 3. That's like the two memories I have of it.
I thought the reason he wasn't an
I mean,
X-Men 3
that doesn't really make sense because Fortnite came out well after X-Men 3, so that's a lot of like waiting you have to do just for that to be explained.
Yeah.
especially for him
yeah.
to just be a chair.
Again, not talking about the thing. Talking about Nightcrawler. Keep up. I know Fortnite's a bit much for you, but it's a lot of heavy work, a lot of heavy lore. You know.
Wait, how many nights were there?
There were
I thought it was just 2.
There were 4 of them?
So the X-Men who have now united,
Josh's
Are,
laugh is my favorite when he goes,
they're in a museum after we see 2 corresponding shots of Hugh Jackman's real Wolverine hair and his wig Wolverine hair,
And a wolf.
and a wolf.
Although you are skipping it, isn't it? Isn't the Nightcrawler scene first?
Yeah, it does. No, it does open with the Nightcrawler scene. Does
The-
it
the-
actually?
It does, yeah. It's the opening scene of the
Okay.
film.
Yeah, it's
There's like three
because
opening scenes and they
you're
all
right
blend into one.
because it fades from Wolverine's face after he looks at the wolf. His face fades to the
To the wolf.
statue wolf in the
Right.
museum. Yeah,
It's a metaphor because he is a wolf.
he is the Wolverine. Yeah,
Because
he's
there are two
it's
pairs
well that's
inside of you.
that's his persona.
Well, no,
But yeah,
it's-
but before that we have Nightcrawler, and his persona is a
white
blue demon. Yeah. I guess his persona is a white man.
It's
'cause
a
he
white
wears-
man in like
He
a
does
trench
he does
coat.
he does white face. Yeah.
And he
He does
you know, he-
is
I
that
think-
am I remembering? Is that a thing they did in the 80s Turtles show? Did they wear like makeup to look like people, or was it masks?
No, I think they just like didn't they
I
just
think
wear
they
the
just
hats
did
and
the
then they kept
hat
them in
and
shadow.
and the trench
I
coats.
feel like there was something with maybe the masks is from a different show. I remember that being a Turtles thing where they've got like a human mask that they like a couple human masks
the
that they all
plot
wear.
of Out of the Shadows is they want to look human, and then
No, I know that there's
Donatello,
the human drug.
he
He
puts
does
the
the
hand.
human
God.
hand thing.
I just
But no,
I just
I could
looked up
swear there's
I just looked
something in
up
the cartoon.
TMNT masks, and you were right there. And in the '87 animated show,
There's
they
a
like
human mask
they
they
wear
wear, right?
weird they wear weird human masks.
Yeah,
I do not remember.
they look
that
like
at
fucking
all.
baby men. Yeah.
Wow, Google that if you're just
Ugh.
listening to the audio and not.
It's cool. I'll add an overlay. It's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but that's
pop
for
that in.
only for people who are.
Pop
who
in a
are
shot. I'm
watching the
remembering
video.
specifically a shot of them in a pizza parlor because they go to get pizza.
Of
So
course
pop
they
that
do.
in. And trench coats were probably involved, presumably.
I mean, it.
Or
Had,
maybe they just wore like actual. I don't remember. I digress.
Someone did it as
he wears-
someone did it in like toys. Let's see if we can get that focus.
Oh, that's fun. I can kind of see. I can get the idea. I can see the vision,
no,
but the
that-
focus
that
is
is
out.
horrible.
It was
and,
for sure unfocused when Josh held his phone up to the camera.
But yeah, so Nightcrawler is attacking the president of the United States.
Yes.
He is.
Presumably.
He's
Stryker-
teleporting all
Presumably,
around.
you know what I mean?
His Stryker is
Yeah.
it's mind controlling him to do it to start a war, essentially.
Right. Yeah.
Both this and X-Men 1 have the same plot of like the person on the other side of the war wants to start a war so they can justify killing all of the other side.
Just like Hitler.
Yeah. This one I think is just okay. This one I think is just done more creatively and
It is, yes, it
interestingly
is.
than the first
But
one. We
for
talked about
sure.
that a bit, or I did.
We
at
don't
least.
even have to like if you've seen
The
both
first
of
one's
these
more,
movies, it's no comparison.
The-
This
Right.
one is
The first
so
one
much
feels
more
more like
interesting.
it feels more like an episode of the animated series, like the first one does, with the big glowy ball at the end, and you know they just about stop the plot. Whereas this one feels like it's got more genuine stakes.
It feels like the episode of any animated series.
The first one, the thing is, the first one would have been one, maybe two episodes of
It'd
the
be-
animated
yeah, it would be
series.
like a
This
2-episode
one would have
arc.
been like
This is a
4 or
season.
5 or like a
Right.
whole season even. Yeah, this one's it's got a lot more packed in there, and I mean it's just
And it's so much more
it's
interesting.
cracked.
Like there's so many more
is.
layers to it. And
Wolverine's got that fake hair in like 2 scenes, and that's it.
The thing
Why?
With the, fake hair, the thing with the fake hair, it looks bad when you're seeing it straight on,
It
right?
looks
But then
bad,
it looks
you
worse
could've stopped.
when you see it from the side. Because it's like you can see like I don't even know how they did it. It's like they got 2 handles and they just stuck it on top and then like left it and they were like, yeah, that's good enough. No one's gonna fucking question it. It's cool. Don't worry about it. But then you see it for 2 scenes. It's in the opening scene where he's with the wolf. That isn't
Well,
necessary.
the biggest thing in the opening scene is that it's in one maybe
shot.
two shots, because there was a back shot that it kind of looked weird that it could have been, or that's just his hair was like slicked or something. But either there was one shot where it actually showed it, and right before they showed a shot of just normal Hugh Jackman with normal hair doing the
Yeah,
same
how he
thing, just
actually
looking,
looks.
just looking. He was
For
just like he
sure,
wasn't.
like,
It's
yeah.
not like he was doing anything.
And
He was
they
just
do that.
he
They
was
show
just
that shot.
standing there.
They show that shot after too. There's literally 2 shots before and after of him just walking around going
Right.
like, which you could have used. So I don't.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
don't
the
know.
one later was like a very ever so slightly different location. Like
Yeah, yeah.
instead of just trees in the back, it was trees and rubble
There's
and
trees and a
snow.
small concrete
A
wall.
small bit of concrete rubble,
No, there
yeah,
was
and of
no
course the
reason.
snow.
There was no reason for the first reshoot hair, and I feel like you get later on in the movie and you stop caring as much, too. So really, like, had they not put that one, I wouldn't have been looking for reshoot hair throughout the entire film.
Right,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
It's that it opened with that,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, especially the one at the end of the movie, because the one at the end of the movie, it still looked kind of out of place,
It
but it
looked
wouldn't
bad.
look
It
so
looked really out of play.
out of place.
But I wouldn't have.
But yeah, but
I would have been a little taken
I
aback. But I would have been
wouldn't.
like, "Oh, it's the end of the movie. I don't care anymore."
Yeah,
Yeah.
and also like I wouldn't have been looking for it the entire movie, you
Right.
know?
I
I wouldn't-
spent
I
the
wouldn't-
whole movie searching for reshoot hair.
Every
Yeah.
time it was a new scene, like you see all the X-Men and you see Hugh Jackman sort of off to the side, and you'd be like, "Oh, is this going to be the
Is
scene?"
that
And,
it?
like,
And then he
is it
comes a
gonna be
little
this
more into
one?
focus. It's like, no, that's his hair.
No, you do get that fun cutting though, like you say, with it's Hugh Jackman and it fades into a wolf because
Right.
there are two wolves
Inside of you, there are two wolves. One of them is gay, the other one is gay.
One of them is a bear, the other one is the new mutants.
And that's an
One of them
X-Men
is
reference.
a bear, the other one is a man who turns into a bear.
I can't
You are
remember.
a bear.
I
Oh,
forgot
that
that
New
the
Mutants
inside of me
reference.
of two inside of me are two wolves thing was a
That's
New
a, yeah,
Mutants
it's
joke.
It's an X-Men reference, yeah.
Yeah, no, it opens with inside of you there are two bears, but I can't remember what she says the two bears are.
One of them is
I don't
a
know,
bear.
probably one is strong, one is protecting. If I had to guess, that's the most.
Probably
Or
so.
one is good, one is evil. Those are
That's
the two most generic
New
things I can.
Mutants thing you can say.
Right. Well, the
Yeah,
mutants
no.
are new. You know, they're not old mutants. That thing is, we don't got a lot of old mutants,
Got a whole
but
lot
we got
of new mutants.
a
though.
whole lot of new mutants though. Yeah.
But yeah, this movie is good.
I mean, this movie does.
It is
This movie does a better job than
real
the
good
first
film.
one.
I like the movie.
Like, this one and the first one are really different in a lot of ways, but this one does a much better job.
But also
at,
similar in more ways than
and
you
also
think.
similar. But this movie
Right.
does a much better job at showing, like, how and why humans don't like mutants. Like in the
For
first one, it was just
sure.
kind
Yeah,
of
that's
like
a good
Right.
perspective.
they just kind of said, oh, you know, mutants, gross. But in this one, they're actively hating them. They're scared of them. There's a lot of variety to how people respond to mutants. You get the
Yeah.
coming out scene at one point,
We
which is
do
a lot of
get
fun.
Bobby Drake's coming out scene, Mr. Man Ice.
The first like, I guess, introduction of the difference between humans and mutants is John Pyro John, like, just refusing to light some guy's cigarette, and instead of just trying to find someone else to light his cigarette, he steals his lighter and then smokes in front of him as if that's
Yeah,
the
the
like
thing is,
gotcha.
like they were,
Which
they
brings
were
me
both
to my
both
point.
being douchebags in that scene.
I was gonna
I guess all
say,
three of
yeah.
them, you know.
They were both
Uh,
being
It brings me
And
to
that's
my
we're in that
point.
scene at
Like,
this point, you
the
know.
mutants in these movies, a lot of times, are giving humans more reasons not to like them.
Well, I think that is also, I think that's meant to be the point, is that, like,
Right.
Xavier's trying to say, no, we're not that troublesome. It's just like we're trying to be better. But it's like an uphill fight against Magneto, who's just at every
Yeah.
opportunity like, how am I going to screw
But
over the
these
mutants
weren't
today?
these weren't Magneto's
Well,
mutants.
this wasn't. Yeah.
These
No,
were
this wasn't
Xavier's
Magneto's mutants. Yeah.
And it's like
But
some of them,
the
yeah.
the point is, yes, the whole idea with the X-Men and specifically Magneto and Professor X's dynamic is that one of them, Professor X, always sees the good in everyone, no matter what. He's an eternal optimist, and Magneto is not. He's an eternal
He's a
pessimist because
yeah.
his parents were holocausted, and he made the X with the thing, and Kevin Bacon shot his mom, and like, you know.
Yeah, but all I'm saying is, if there's a man
And like
who
these
can read the minds of all other humans, if I'm just a normal human watching the news and I find out about this,
Right, no, for sure. That's scary, but also he's not the one that's a threat in this. Is
sure.
it's you
well,
know it's
he
that,
is
but
once
there
he
are
becomes mind controlled
well,
by
sure, if
other
he gets
people.
if he gets the goop on him and then he gets the
Point
thing and
being,
then
like,
the little kid tricks him or
point being,
whatever.
like the mutants. Yes, I understand. Should be treated equally to an extent, but also like they are menaces. Like they're
Well, yeah,
they're
but a lot of the
causing
time,
I
a lot
think
of the time
inherently
it's
saying they're menaces it just doesn't seem right. What is that? What was that kid with the lizard tongue doing? No,
yeah, it's,
John Pyro. He's a menace. He's a
yeah,
dick.
he's
Yeah,
yeah,
that's why he
but
goes evil and he gets sent to the Deadpool
even
void.
then,
He
even
gets his
then,
neck
like
snapped. You know.
even then, it's still like he's not the first one to act in that situation. The guys are being antagonistic towards him. They
All
go
right,
to
all right.
Okay.
Admittedly, lighting someone on fire. Well, it was cool, and I probably would have done the same thing if someone took my lighter and I have fire powers. Like, come on. but it's a dick thing to do, and it's
it's an
also
overreaction.
it's
I'll
also
say that.
assault. You know,
It is.
Right.
you're assaulting a man with
It's
flames.
also a
you know?
fire.
Well, yeah.
Right. Well, he's got his fire extinguisher buddy there.
Yeah, right. Which is the second point of mutant powers, which is it's literally it's kind of a great scene because in one moment you get both sides of mutants. You get the
It does,
pricks
yeah.
who light you on fire and the ones
It
who will
very
put it
much
out.
shows that mutants they're just
They're
like
just like
outside of their
us.
powers, but they're just I mean there are good ones and there are bad ones. Like that's just life, you know. Some people will light you on fire and some people will put you out
And
when
some
you're on
people
fire.
will be Jimmy
Some
Olsen in
people
Smallville.
And some
some
people
people
will
will
be
light you on
James
fire.
Olsen.
Some people will literally control your mind so that you can't move for a few minutes.
Right.
And like the
And
good
but
guy
you
in this
won't
movie
know
literally
it.
freezes your body so that you
But
can't
you
move.
won't know it
Yeah, but
though,
Yes,
and
but
it'll
still,
just be
like,
like it'll just
it's
be
to
like the
protect
weird people
everyone.
teleported in front of
It's to
right from in
protect
front of
those
you.
people and also protect his people. It's for everyone's protection, you know.
all I'm saying is
No,
if I lived in the
it's
X-Men
no
universe,
no
I would
it's
be
to
one of
it's to
those.
show that he has these cool powers and he can essentially freeze time for all intents and
Right.
Right.
purposes.
But all I'm
That's
saying
what it's
is,
to
if I
show.
lived in the X-Men universe, I would be on the political side of the people who were against the mutants because they freak me out, and I don't like them.
Well, given everything I know about you and your real life political views, that tracks. You know.
I don't have real life political views, but continue.
I mean,
I've heard some,
You heard some when
but
I was 18
I
years old, but
digress.
yes.
uh, no,
Well,
I mean, admittedly, it's a weird like I don't know why you take all of these kids out to this museum anyway, because something's gonna happen.
That's what I've been
sure.
saying. Why did the kids go to the museum in the
Well,
first place?
not even all of the
Keep
kids,
them
but
locked up.
I mean, the thing is, like, no, take the
take the
kids, like
take the good
the actual
kids.
children that weren't doing anything. Don't take these adults
These 18-year-olds.
playing teenagers that are
Well,
like.
I want to look this up real quick. I want to see how old the pyro actor was when he was doing this
He
movie.
had to have been at least 22. That's my guess.
Yeah, I mean, I assume they're all in their early 20s,
Which makes
and
sense. It's
and
easier to
are meant to
cast.
be in their late teens. That's all fine. But I'm just saying, in kind of leave them who are clearly troublemakers. At
Also,
least
I mean,
John Pyro. Maybe
keeping in
bring
mind,
Rogue. She weren't really doing
keeping
nothing.
in mind they were
Neither was
cast
Ice
2
Bob.
years before this. You know what I mean? For the first
Well,
X-Men movie.
Pyro wasn't, but
Was
he
he
was
not?
just some
Okay,
blonde
wait.
guy.
So
Nah, he was
just
just
quickly,
some other
how
blonde
old do you
dude.
think these guys were in this movie?
I'm gonna say
Like I
early to
said,
mid
probably
20s.
Pyro
early
specifically.
23.
20s. Yeah, around early maybe mid 20s for him. He did seem a little older than the others.
Congratulations. He was about 25 in this film.
Okay.
Yeah. And what about the Ashmore and the I saved your
Uh,
life?
Sean Ashmore was in this one. He was also, I think, he was 24, and
So
Anna
yeah,
Paquin.
mid 20s.
Yeah, mid 20s. That's
Playing
fine.
like
Anna
teens,
Paquin
whatever.
was about 20, I think.
Okay.
Oh.
So that's
Well, my
more or
cat
less
kinda
fine.
come here. I'll keep waffling.
But I don't know. It's still weird because like in school, if you've got troublesome kids, you don't take them on field trips and stuff, you know?
I mean, you do typically. I don't know.
Not
It's
over
just,
here. If you're like if you're a shithead in school, they just say
yeah,
you're not
for
going.
sure. I don't know. It's more the
Right.
fact that they're superhumans that
Well, yeah,
gets
but
me.
You can't.
Yeah,
like,
that has to like
It
I get
has to play a
in
factor.
theory, yeah, Professor X can just do that and stop it before anything really bad happens, but you should still take that into consideration before letting this guy who's presumably, because in the last movie he was starting fires in class, he's presumably got a
he
history
decided to start a ball of
a little
fire.
yeah, he's got a history of being a little shithead probably,
Like,
and
well,
he's got
okay,
a
like,
pretty
I get
dangerous
it. And we've
and
spent,
also just very noticeable power is
right.
because
Well, yeah.
they're trying to fly under the radar.
Yeah,
That's the
well,
big
yes.
part of it too, you
and
know.
I know we've spent a little too much time focusing on it, but I just like
Yeah, but that's
the
just how we
fact-
talk, man.
the fact that he can control fire. Like, that's important. Like, I understand, like, the whole, like, the comparison of this movie and whatever, and I'm not trying to actually speak to that, because that's its own thing. As far as this story goes with the X-Men, like, it's not the comparison that they're making, because this guy can control fire, and one guy could give you pneumonia with his breath. Like, they are much more dangerous than just the average human individual. And I completely
Yes,
understand.
well, because they have superpowers.
Right.
Correct. Yeah.
I completely
the
understand the fear
self-control
in
isn't.
universe. I
Right, but
completely
also as we talked about and was made pretty blatantly evident in this scene, there's the good and the bad. You know, one lights you on fire,
Yeah,
one's
and
put the
it's-
fire out.
Yeah,
And
but
it's the same-
but that's
yeah, but
because
it's the-
some of them have been trained in a school to control it, and some of them haven't. You know what I mean?
Well, both of them had been
both of them
trained
have.
in
In
this
this
school.
scene,
One of them was
yes.
just an asshole.
Just
And
in,
also-
in the world as a whole, that's not
Well,
the case.
Yeah, but in the world as a whole, that's also just not the case in general. Like, you could walk out in the street and just get stabbed. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
I could get stabbed, but getting stabbed is a whole lot different than just one guy I make angry being able to control my mind and making me stab my entire family. Like, they're
Well,
different.
Yeah, they're extremes, but the point still stands there. You have some inherent trust that the people that you interact with on a daily basis won't just you know kill you or hurt you in
Yeah,
some
but
degree.
one of the X-Men in this movie pretended to be a politician for like 3 years. She just faked it the entire thing.
I do wonder about that. I wonder if she was like a good governor or something. Like,
Oh, maybe.
surely
I don't
she
know.
had.
It was Senator, I think.
She was
being,
Senator, but
Senator
like I said,
Senator
back
Yellow
to my
Eyes.
I
original
like
was,
point.
I like
like,
the idea
name?
that I like the idea
Senator H2O was his name, I believe.
I like the idea that she was a better senator than he was. Like, she actually does. She
probably.
brings down
Yeah.
taxes. She reduces the price of whatever senators do. She takes less bribes.
I don't know.
Like, she
Or more, maybe.
or
Who's to
more.
say?
You know, who knows? Nonetheless, we're getting off track here because we're talking about the
We don't really have a
There's no
track.
No, but we're talking too much about the real life implications of mutants, whereas we could be talking about why Professor X gets sidelined in this movie, which
Right,
is
we
Which
do need to talk
is
about
probably the best Professor X sideline. I love this one.
It's
it
the
really
most,
is because
it's the most involved.
it is the plot, you
Yeah,
know?
It's not just
Yeah.
like, oh, he gets a coma or whatever. Like, he becomes the bad guy of this movie, which is super cool.
Yeah, he becomes the
Sort of.
weapon.
Well, also just he becomes one of the two people that's being tormented by the bad guy and
Yes, but I
used
more
as
mean, like,
a weapon.
yeah, like
the other one being that man's child.
Right, and we'll get
Like his
there.
son?
I want to
This
kind of
movie's
save
real
that a little
dark.
bit for the end.
It is,
Real,
it's-
yeah. But what I more
I
mean,
mean, we'll get there for
Professor
sure.
X becomes. He's not the Emperor, but he's the Death Star.
Right,
He's,
right,
He, is
yeah,
he becomes the
yeah.
weapon, like the mass destruction.
For sure,
weapon.
and that's hard because
It's
he
awesome.
is like,
Yeah.
and that does admittedly
back to
that
my
goes
point.
into what you're saying. He's very dangerous, but he's good man.
Yeah,
You're a
it's
good
like,
woman. Hmm?
it's such a blessing to this lore that Professor X happens to be a good guy.
Well, yeah, but that
Right. I mean,
you
for
can say
sure.
that about most things. You'd be like, it's a good thing Batman's a good guy because he'd be
Well, but Batman,
Batman as a bad guy would just get
Batman as a
taken
villain
out.
isn't nearly as scary
Correct.
as
Now,
Professor X as a villain. Like
sure.
you said, Superman,
Superman as a
sure.
villain,
That's,
yeah, for sure. That's horrifying.
yeah, that's I'm a
Batman
little
as a
scared.
villain,
Yeah,
he beats up a few guys a month. Like it's whatever.
right. And then
Professor
Superman
X,
fucking lasers him.
yeah, Superman as a villain, he lasers the core of the Earth until we all explode.
Right. No, he spins around the Earth so quickly that it reverses us back to the Stone Age.
He rebuilds,
And then he
China.
uses his laser eyes to rebuild. No, he rebuilds the Tower of Babel, and then God curses us with not being able to talk or whatever.
He rebuilds the Twin Towers.
No, yeah, the Professor X sideline in this movie is probably its best one.
It's for
like
sure his best one. It's not probably his best one.
The movie gets split into 3 parts halfway through. It goes into the Professor X is being turned into a weapon to kill all mutants. The Jean and Storm go to find out Nightcrawler.
Let's talk about just the general like stuff that got us there. Logan comes home and talks to Iceman, and then Jean and Storm go to the Boston Harbor and meet Nightcrawler. We get a little more of his German and also his weird back mark, which we also get set up with Magneto getting.
Yes.
It's like some.
It's like
a
an
mind
acid.
control juice, yeah.
It's a mind control thing that I think he
Well,
I think we talked over it, but I feel like I remember it being a thing he like got from his son's brain juice or some shit like that. Because his son is the brain mutant. So it's like his brain juice, but it's like a truth mind control serum that he uses to truth and mind control various mutants.
Stryker developed the serum from harvesting his son's spinal fluid.
Spinal fluid. Sure, that's where DMT is or whatever.
That's what they say.
But yeah, so you got those, and then at the same time, Professor X gets kidnapped with Scott, and then all of Stryker's
and
people.
Scott's rocking the hard ass. He's got just the not as hard X-Men suit, but still tough. And then just that with a trench coat over it goes crazy.
He's got like the visor and then like a deer hunter cap over the top.
Yeah. No, and I think he wore that deer hunter cap in the last movie.
I think he wore just a normal cap in the last one, but this one has like flaps on the sides.
I feel like I remember the flaps, or maybe it was just he had a cap and then also his weird visor.
Oh, he had like earmuffs, I think.
Yeah, I'm thinking the scene in the train station.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking the same one. He had like
lasers the thing. I remember there being. It was either earmuffs or the visor. It was something maybe covering it. But I digress. He had a cool trench coat over his fit, and it's dope. But then he lasers a couple people, gets taken out. I think we get introduced to the Sludge Man, our new Excelsior super fans, Stanley Marvel action hero.
New superhero.
The Sludge, Ass Sludge for short.
Well, yeah. So Mystique roofies a guy and then injects him with a load of metal sludge that they don't tell you what it is.
First we see this guy beating Magneto, so we can not feel that bad for him when he gets gets sludged and then gets it ripped out through his blood. But we'll get there.
Before we get to that, a mansion gets attacked, which has one of the cool scenes where Wolverine just kills a load of people. It's always fun.
We get Wolverine killing. We get the introduction of Wolverine, Hugh Jackman's heavy breathing.
I'm kind of
a lot of firsts for this movie. A lot of firsts.
The most annoying thing about the like mention attack scene is it's really well done, but it should have been, and I guess you could say like it wasn't done because of budget or whatever, but it should have been all of the mutant kids. Like you get to see a ton of powers, and they kind of do that. You see like Colossus.
We see a couple. We see
You see Colossus. You see Kitty
Elliot
Pryde.
Page runs through the wall.
Yeah,
But you only
Colossus
see
has
her
the
from
bad metal
behind because
effect.
they don't want to cast someone yet.
Right, because it's
No,
not.
it
Yeah, it's
wasn't.
because it's not Elliot Page. I think it only becomes Elliot Page in the third one.
Yeah, maybe.
yeah, right.
Before
And the
before
Vogue cut.
it's Elliot Page, right? The rogue cut, or not the rogue cut?
No,
I think the
she-
regular cut.
Elliot Page.
the regular.
Elliot Page is in both the Vogue cut and the theatrical release.
Well, she's probably in both, but she's not as big because doesn't Rogue like take over her?
in
her
the
part,
Vogue
sort of?
cut, halfway through,
Rogue cut.
Elliot Page leaves because Wolverine stabs Kitty Pryde, and then they need Rogue to take Kitty Pryde's power and like swap out.
I think the stabbing just happens in.
The stabbing still happens in the theatrical one, but they just kind of go,
It's just like, oh well.
Yeah,
She's
I
not
don't
one
know.
of the originals. She's not
That
the
sucks.
original.
Yeah, we only introduced her in the third one, so
But yeah, you
Who
also
cares?
get Kid who can change the channel by blinking,
right,
He's
and
my
doesn't
favorite, I
doesn't
think.
sleep.
and also it doesn't
He's
sleep.
cracked. He's a good one.
And there's Scream Girl, who
Would you
just-
get Scream Girl? Yeah.
It's the part of the movie I hate every time I
It's
go
the
to
worst,
rewatch.
but it's also the most satisfying when you know she
they
finally
get
gets
quieted.
strength or whatever. Yeah.
the only mutant who I'm like, yeah, no, they probably should be
Like, yeah,
tranquilized.
that's you know, like maybe not genocide them, but yeah, like come on,
Like,
enough's enough.
give them a nap, you know.
Right.
But yeah, you get Wolverine.
She's
Seeing
the one
Stryker.
mutant that makes you come to my side.
I love Don being like, you know, I'd be like those people in the X-Men animated series who wanted to kill the mutants and just
Yeah, no, Dalton would be the people that like killed all the X-Men in Deadpool and Wolverine
Look,
Wolverine's
I'm not
universe.
saying I
Yeah.
would kill them, but I am saying I can see why they thought they posed a threat. That's all I'm saying. Because I can. Like, they do pose a threat. This one
sure.
man has the minds of every human being in a room.
right, sure thing. Nonetheless,
Right.
the kids, Wolverine meets up with Stryker, and he has like a little flashback moment where you see a preview. It just plays the trailer for X-Men Origins.
Well,
And then-
yeah, it's the trailer for X-Men Origins if it was interesting and
It's a
good.
good movie.
But
And then,
we get a little bit of that. I think also he had a dream earlier that showed some of that.
Yeah, because he's
Little-
still
little-
trying
we
to
get
get
little-
Professor X to
Little
be like,
flashes
help
of
me.
PTSD. He puts out the cigar on his hand, and Professor X says, "I can't help you. Your brain's mush. You're shit out of luck."
Is Professor X played by
this
Danny
is-
DeVito?
Yeah. This is when we talked about how he should have just lied to Wolverine and just given him
Yes.
some fake
Right.
memories and
Memories.
just been, oh yeah, you had a really good life, and
He
Your
accidentally
was
just,
mother
like,
totally
loved you a
normal.
lot.
he's just
totally
like,
normal,
he
great,
gets,
loving parents.
He accidentally gives him like Rogue's memories from 10 years ago. He's like, oh crap, I should have picked someone else. He's like,
Oh
yes,
no,
you're a
he's
girl.
got an iPhone.
It's like, oh no, I accidentally gave him my memories.
gave him
I accidentally
my
gave him
memories.
Magneto's memories.
But no, the like Wolverine, as is the case, this is kind of the beginning of Wolverine being the main character of all the X-Men movies.
I think
Because-
that was
Yeah,
the
well,
last
that was the
movie.
first one.
Well,
Yeah.
the first one, he's still like he's a main character, but it's sort of split between him and Rogue. Like,
yeah, I
Yeah,
think
kinda.
sort
They
of. I
abandoned
think
that
I
the
think it
second
was
they
meant.
cast
It
Hugh
was
Jackman.
it was meant to be, but also not really.
it was like he was the main character, but Rogue
like
was the audience.
you can tell, and
stand-in.
we sort of talked this to death last week, but you could tell the original idea was for them to be both the main characters and for their dynamic to sort of run the movie, which it did, but then Hugh Jackman was more charismatic and Wolverine was a more interesting character, so they frontlined him and sort of sidelined Rogue outside of her
Right.
being needed for plot MacGuffin. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about X-Men 2 more movies.
X-Men
Yeah, where
United,
Wolverine-
X-Men
Wolverine
Tided, X-Men
escapes
Titan.
X-Men
the-
tonight. We watched
X-
X-Men tonight.
Wolverine
And it was
escapes the
good.
mansion with the kids, and it plays Bye Bye Bye. It's a Deadpool reference. You want
Right,
to get
that's
it?
a
And
Deadpool and Wolverine.
And he also finds like the little the phone that's in the shape of an X because they just have too much time on
Right.
their
That's
hands.
when we get the best line since "I saved your life."
Which
when,
is, Dan, would you
when
like
one of them goes, "That's not a CD player,"
It's
or "I
Pyro.
don't think that's a CD player."
It's Pyro
Yeah,
who
it is.
says
It is
that.
John Pyro.
He
John,
says,
John Pyro.
John
I
Pyro.
don't think that's a CD player.
Guys, you're going to want to check this
And
out.
you know what? He's right.
I mean,
It's
he's
not.
right.
It certainly was not a
In
CD
no
player.
way is it
was
a
in
CD
fact
player.
And then
the phone,
they drive
but
to
it's called Twitter now.
They drive to Bobby's house because I think it's the closest one that they could get to.
Right. Yeah.
Or they had
and-
already set up that his parents were homophobic.
And Bobby's like
I think it was the closest.
Bobby takes everyone there, and then immediately Wolverine's an alcoholic, so he starts
He
drinking. all of
he
their-
immediately goes for the beer.
Well, they set that up
Um,
earlier when he said, "Is there any beer here?" And
Well,
Bobby
yeah,
says,
yeah.
Right,
"This
it's
is
a
a
school."
school."
I also, and then
Right.
but then his parents come in, and Bobby's just like, "Oh yeah, this is my teacher drinking." all these
Yeah,
beers."
he
It makes
no,
it any
the
better.
parents and his brother come in as Wolverine's claws are drawn, pointed at the
Oh, yeah,
cat.
the cat, and it's just like licking the.
And the way
No, it was so funny.
the way they show him, like, because he quickly puts them away and then puts his hand down, but it doesn't look like it. It looks like he just slices the cat
No,
because the
not
cat
only
like
that,
runs
but
away.
the cat's like licking the claws, and then it cuts away, and the cat goes meow, like it's been sliced in half.
But the
Right.
Then yeah, you get the whole scene of them trying to tell his parents and his brother that he's a
We
mutant,
we
and
get
it
him
parallels
coming out
him.
to his family.
It parallels like a teenager coming out as gay to his family, which apparently was like Ian McKellen co-wrote that scene to try and make it like
Oh.
accurate, which is just nice little detail. Good
nice
on him.
Yeah, that is
fun,
fun.
yeah.
It wound up with the gay boy killing all the cops.
No,
No, not the gay one.
no, Pyro
yes,
did.
but okay, but it's to my point.
No, it's not your point, Dalton.
Like the
you're
comparison
you're
in this
talking
movie,
nonsense.
the comparison in this movie is like it's homosexuality and civil rights, and it's all like combined in together in these movies. But in no point in either of those did the people who were whatever just murder a bunch of cops. But that happens in this movie.
I mean, it did. The Black Panthers were quite a big part of the civil rights movement. They were a much more violent, like, counterpart to the civil rights movement itself. But people still pursued because the civil rights movement had a good point of people deserved rights, they deserve to live.
So you're
Right.
telling me
that is a lot of the juxtaposition between
Sure,
that I was talking about earlier with Magneto
Yeah,
and
like
Professor
there's
X
there's
is,
the old,
is,
there's
is
the old
very
comparison
apparent with
of,
did the Black
Martin-
Panthers
Martin
ever
and
just
Malcolm
make
X.
fire out of their hands and kill 20 police
Admittedly, no.
officers at
Well,
once?
no, they couldn't.
Okay.
I don't think
They
they
didn't kill
killed.
them.
They didn't kill all the cops. It showed at least most of those cops just on the ground
showed
and a little
one
injured.
alive.
It showed
It showed most
It
of
showed
them
a good
alive.
couple. They were like moving on the
Oh,
I
ground.
like that
okay.
suddenly X-Men 2
They
is
were
the movie.
they were all out of the cars when he
I
blew
like
them
that
up.
X-Men 2 is suddenly the movie where Dalton's like, you know what, I can't give myself the suspension of disbelief for this, you know? Like The Crow,
No,
a
I
man
can't-
coming back from the dead, I can take that,
I
but I
didn't like
can't
The Crow.
stand, man.
No, he didn't. He
I know you
didn't.
didn't
He
like The
didn't
Crow,
rock.
you've got awful opinions, we've been over this.
You're the
Um,
worst.
You are the
No,
worst.
I like this movie a ton. It's just this is the one between the first two X-Men movies where I start to see like, okay, the mutants are legitimately dangerous. And this was the scene in this movie where I started to see it, which is why I brought it back.
I
Again,
think
again, it's
that
like a
is
minority.
the point. You know,
It's the point is that, you know, you can't just throw a blanket cover over all these things and say like, oh, everything's good,
look, man.
everything's
Like
bad.
anyone, me in GTA, of course, not in real life, could blow up a police station and kill as many or more cops than John Pyro did in GTA, of course, not in real life. But you know, that's got nothing to do with me having powers and having rights. You know, it would have to do with whether or not I'm a crazy evil man that wants to blow up cops,
But
you know?
proportionally, it seems like there are more crazy mutants than there
Name
are
the crazy. Okay,
non-crazy mutants.
name the crazy mutants who actively go out and attack people.
Half of the
It's
ones in the movies.
it is Magneto,
One.
Pyro, and Mystique.
One that's on the good side, and the only really two main bad ones
And
who
there's the
ultimately aren't
Wolverine
like
chick.
they're not really actively.
They're not-
Wolverine
yeah,
chick is being mind controlled, you can presume. I don't think we ever directly see that, but I can assume any mutant working for Stryker is mind controlled.
right.
So
And, and
that's a human doing it.
there's a lot of factors at play. Basically, the long story is
And
Dalton, you're
Magneto,
being an idiot.
outside of the end, when Magneto did try and genocide all humans,
Correct. All of
he
them
never
at
he
once.
never right. And he did try and do the same in the first one, but he didn't know he was doing the same. He thought he was just turning them
He
all
thought he was
into
just turning them into
mutants,
mutants.
which
Yeah.
still isn't great. But
It's not great, but he's not trying to kill them. He's just trying to change their
yeah.
lives. You know?
See, that I can get
Uh,
behind. Maybe that's it. I can get behind someone trying to turn all humans into mutants so that we're all on an even playing field. Trying to kill all humans is a whole other thing. And then, like,
what about trying to turn all mutants into humans?
I like that too. That works as well.
That's the next movie,
That's
I think.
Oh, is it? I can't
That's
wait.
the next one.
It's
Yeah,
pretty
we'll get
concerning
there.
that for 2 of the 3 movies, Dalton's like, you know what? The bad guys kind of have a point.
No, I think it's the opposite.
Well, no, I guess no, because
In the first one,
if you're
in
fine
fact,
with
all three, the bad guy is
well,
the
no,
one
in the,
I'm- Well, he doesn't have a point.
in
but
the
he's
in the
one
first
who-
in the first one, he's not directly trying to kill people, but he would have
He
had
does have side effects.
his weapon not killed people, you would have been on his side, I believe is what you said.
I think what I'm more saying is
Or you would have been okay with it, was I think your
what I'm more
words,
saying
'cause it
is
puts
that
them
it's
on
the better
field.
alternative than killing all humans.
Well, sure, yes. I think
Also,
any
what I'm more
anytime
saying is that the bad guy
anytime a
kind of
solution
justifies.
anytime a solution has not murdering over a solution having murdering, it's probably
Right.
better.
What I'm more saying is that the bad guy provides evidence as to why the stakes are the way that they are, if that makes any sense whatsoever.
In
particularly
what? In
because
this
it's just
in
one.
X2?
It's just
In the
one
X-Men movies.
bad guy.
Yeah, but he's a
compared to the
really
mutant.
bad guy. So I still don't like German people.
He wasn't German. The one you're thinking of wasn't German.
I mean, okay, Austrians are German.
Yeah,
they
right.
speak German. I don't care what their country's called, you know.
Right.
They speak Austrian.
It's the same reason I still to this
It's not
day
a
don't like
language.
people who fly a
Mate,
Confederate
you made
flag out
those
of the back
words
of
up.
their truck. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah.
Every time I come on here, I remember why I don't want to be on this podcast.
We've
Like,
spent
I
too much
remember
time
why
on
I'm-
this point.
I remember why I'm gonna skip next week.
No, you're not.
No, come on. We gotta be there for next week so that Dalton can say that he agrees with the bad guy trying to turn them all into humans or whatever. But we'll get there. Let's talk about this movie though, for however much time we got left. I don't know.
My point is not like I think the mutants should be eradicated. I don't think that. What I
No,
do
we spent too much time on
I
this
know,
point.
I understand.
This needs to
I'm-
go
I'm-
on
I'm-
this point.
No, I'm wrapping it up to transition.
It was wrapped up. It's been wrapped up.
I can see the reason that
got,
there's
like,
a
3
threat
bows on that
against the
shit.
mutants. Like I can see why people are afraid of them. They're scary.
Sure, but so are people. Is I think my point and the point of
Yes. The point
of
is
the
that
X-Men.
people.
But they're
If
less scary because
anyone-
they can't draw claws out
sure,
of their hands.
this is an extreme. Yes, it's an extreme to make a point that anyone can be dangerous, and anyone with the wrong ideas and the wrong capabilities to make a bomb or do whatever dangerous things
Kaczynski was a
is
man, but he could
dangerous.
still blow you up. Like,
Yeah.
like
And that's frightening. But people
Right.
in this movie just have the ability to do it regardless.
What are you saying? Everyone named Ted, everyone named Kaczynski should be fucking locked up
No,
off the streets?
but some of them weren't born with the ability to manifest bombs in their mind. That one kid can control the TV with his brain.
Okay, what's
Hey
he
man,
gonna do?
I remember you talking shit about his power. I was the only one who said, "Nah, his power is hard, and he's
but
probably the most
imagine,
overpowered other than Professor X." That's
imagine
all
you're
I'm
sitting
saying.
on your couch at night watching TV, and suddenly the channels just start flipping because some kid across the street thought it was funny.
Then I turn off the TV and I go to bed. Like that.
I mean, no, I
that's not-
probably wouldn't do that. I mean, I probably wouldn't assume
I wouldn't assume
mutants
a
are at
mutant-
stake.
a
I'd call like a fucking
Right,
you know,
exactly.
to
Now
make it a
you've
cable
wasted
company or
hours.
whatever.
You know what I mean? It's all thanks to this one kid, and that's on a small scale.
what what are you talking about?
There's
What
at
are you
least
talking
two
about?
in this movie who can read your mind.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Privacy.
Don,
is
you
at
are
stake.
beyond thick.
Yes,
like,
sir. Yes,
I-
sir. Yes,
I
I,
just-
am.
I just-
yes, sir. I'm using the joke. I'm Peter Griffin here to explain the joke.
Oh, Peter.
The American version of thick is meaning you've got a large bottom, and the British version of thick means you're dumb. So I said yes, sir, as yeah. But you got
Yeah.
it. Keep going.
You've got a thick skull.
I got a thick something.
The
you know
light.
what I mean?
I mean, it's very clear that the lights are on, but nobody's home. Like I
Right, gone to lunch. I'm gonna get you this great new necklace. It's a chain with a little sign on it that says "out to lunch."
Can it say gone fishing?
It's just gone fishing.
Right. The point
Yeah.
that Dalton has missed the entire point of 60 years worth of everything besides. The rest of the movie is pretty bog standard stuff. X-Men come together, join plots with Magneto. They're like, oh, we got a mutual enemy. 'cause
Yeah.
Stryker's
First we'll try and talk about the plot a little bit and how the threads. I think we had established all the threads. We'll talk about how they weave. We get after the cops get
Jean
okay.
Grey-
First, let's be real. Not to say it was justified. To bring it back to him killing or maybe not killing the cops. Not to say it was at all justified, but they did just shoot
I will
at
say, yeah,
at Wolverine. Like they would have
cop-
just killed. Not unarmed, technically unarmed, but like
Right.
it seemed like he had knives, but he was putting them away.
Yeah,
Like
he
it
would've-
was blatant police brutality.
For sure.
he-
Yeah,
he
no,
or
was
I
just
agree
or just
there.
murder.
I
He was
agree
just like,
there.
I
as-
can't put it away, and they just kept their guns pointed at him. Like,
Right.
Well,
Like,
they told
I
him to
will- I
put it
will say-
away,
I will
and he put him
say-
up like he was about to take them away, and then they
Well,
shot
no,
him in the
it showed him putting them away as they shot him.
Ah.
He holds it up and he goes I can't put them down. Look, and he puts them in, and then as he puts it up, they shoot him, and it's like they go.
See, I missed
But-
that.
but
That
yeah.
changed my whole perspective.
yeah,
Oh,
I
that
can tell
doesn't-
you've
that
missed a
changes it?
lot. I can tell you've missed a lot.
I missed
But
him a
yeah.
lot today.
But then Pyro attacks them all, and eventually the Jean and Storm and Nightcrawler arrive in their ship,
Yeah,
and
they
they
show
get
up in
them out of there.
the big plane.
And eventually
Big
they escape long enough that they run into Magneto and Mystique. They all kind of gather
Well,
around the
they
campfire.
escape far enough to get some
Attacked by
army
fighter
jets on them. Yeah, then they
They shoot
they take them out. One of them manages to fire a couple missiles at them, which they stop one of the other, hits them, forces them to crash.
Yeah,
so
which
Magneto
Rogue
can catch
gets
up.
sucked out of the ship, and Nightcrawler does
Right.
that sick like teleport halfway
Yeah,
through
it's
to get him
awesome.
back in.
Yeah,
But he
it's
hadn't
cracked.
seen the
But
sky.
he couldn't see the sky, so it doesn't make sense. It's bullshit.
But yeah, then they meet up with
All the
Mystique
mutants
and
should be
Magneto. They
eradicated.
create like a little makeshift plan. They make a makeshift plan. They're like, okay, we'll just break in, get everyone, get out. Bada bing, bada boom. They rush Alkali Lake, which I think what is their plan? It's Mystique gets in, pretends to be William Stryker, gets everyone else in, locks the private military corporation out, and then
Right. Yeah, the plan is basically what they do, what she succeeds in outside of when it sort of breaks and all goes to shit at the end. But she
Right.
gets into the control room that they establish afterwards is super barricaded. It's got these real thick walls that only Magneto with his Magneto powers can get through. So she's in there doing something. I guess
She's just like
opening up the doors
opening
for them
doors
to
that they
come
need to
in.
open up. Yeah, and you
Yeah,
get
whatever.
again. This is like the rest of the movie. You get kind of 3 different tracks. You get Wolverine who goes into the adamantium room,
He
and he
goes
has
off
like
on
his
his
little
own to try and figure
PTSD
out his
adventure.
past, PTSD, trauma,
But
flashbacks.
you do get that sick fight scene with Lady Deathstrike,
We
which
get, yeah,
fire
arguably
name.
Female Wolverine.
it's a name that only you know, but also
Lady
a
Deathstrike,
Deadpool
because
and Wolverine reference.
in the game X-Men, oh god, what was it called?
Deadpool and Wolverine
X-Men Next
reference.
Dimension,
Okay.
you could play as Lady Deathstrike, and she was a better version of Wolverine because she was slightly faster than him, so it was a kind of cheat code.
Mm.
But
Classic video game trope of
Reference, yeah.
making female characters more
I
powerful.
like
But
I like
less
the
cool, so you don't really want to play as them, but you gotta decide, like, am I gonna be
but the
Wolverine or am I
you
gonna
get
be Lady
the sick
Deathstrike?
fight scene between the two of them, and it's
Right.
pretty
Well,
even
it's
because
a fine. It's okay. It's Wolverine versus Wolverine
It's
again.
the
It's
exact
Wolverine.
same
it's
thing they
cool.
did
There's some good
last
stuff, but it
movie.
ends in the hardest way ever, where like she's kind of got the upper hand on him. She's like drowning him or fucking him up,
no,
whatever. And
she's
he
got him pinned on top of like a I don't even know what you
right.
call it, like a
Like a
Point is
shelf.
grate, yeah, metal
he's
grate.
pinned, but then he grabs the tube with the liquid adamantium. Which how is it liquid if it's indestructible? And once it's cooled, it can never
It's
be
fine. It's
melted down
fine.
again.
You don't need to
Who
know.
knows? But it's so that
It's so that
this
you
can
can get this
happen, so
cool
that
scene.
he can inject her with it, and she can bleed metal out
Right.
of her eyes and nose and
I
mouth,
will say though,
and then make a pipe clink sound and goes clunk clunk,
even
and it's
though
great. It's the
even
best scene in the movie.
even though it this scene happens, that doesn't mean they have to add the line that it can never be melted down again. You know, like it can still be melted down and this scene happen.
Sure.
Well,
I
yeah,
was I was
he
saying
doesn't
that
say
just
that it
because
can't be melted
it's
down
just
again. He
a
just says
thing
that
to
it's
say.
indestructible,
He
which doesn't
admittedly
like
didn't say that, but that indestructible
It's the
does
implication.
it
imply,
implies
and I think
implies.
Wolverine has like survived nukes, right? So that
Yeah, which like
if
you'd
that
think
don't
that would
melt some
melt
shit
the
down,
What
nothing
will?
will, right?
Apparently, this
Yeah,
lab though.
I guess
They've got a
whatever they
mini
got
sun
there.
underneath this little basket of.
no,
Maybe the power of the sun in the palm of their
admit,
hand. It's
admittedly,
a Sam
between the
Raimi
three of
reference.
us, none of us hold like some form of engineering degree or
None of
anything
us
that
hold
would.
the power of the sun in the palm of our
None of us
hand.
hold the power of the
That's
sun in the
true.
palm of
I
his
hold
hand.
a rubber band in my hand because I found the
Uh,
rubber band.
so
I hold a
while
regular sun, but not the power of it.
Regular chicken
While
sandwich.
Wolverine's doing this,
Uh-huh.
you've also got Jean Grey looking for Cyclops. They have like a
Right.
5 second scene where
He's
she
been mind
fixes him
controlled,
because he's being mind controlled.
but then he gets thrown around and his laser bends for a little bit, and that
Yeah, it
was
was
fun
funny.
and silly.
And then that's it. That's all you need to see.
And
Done.
then that's done. Then
And then you get Stryker is he gets cornered by Wolverine and also Magneto and also that kid with the tongue with Wolverine again.
well, no, I think Magneto is going to
Oh no,
he's at
Magneto's going to
the
get
second
Professor X.
Cerebro.
Yeah.
Yeah, Magneto and
Oh,
Mystique are at
excuse me.
second Cerebro.
They hit the second Cerebro.
They did
And they
actually.
changed Cerebro, so whereas Professor X was gonna kill all the mutants, he's now doing it so that
He
kills
floats
all the
up and
humans.
he flips the panels to the human spots so that he
Which is
focuses
so
on the
silly.
humans. It's nonsense, but it's awesome. And
It
then
makes no sense.
and then he's killing he's killing all the humans.
I mean,
But then
we didn't even
they
talk
stop
about how sick Magneto was earlier when he breaks out of his jail cell with the guy's iron with the 3 little metal balls.
right. We
yeah,
did
it's
we
awesome.
talked about it a bit, but then we brushed over it. Yeah.
And we talked about
And
it
he-
After
last week.
the guy got gooped, he he's like the officer, and he goes in and Magneto just stands
Senses
up, and
it.
he's almost like sniffing. He's like there's
He's like, he
like
could smell the
little too much iron in your blood, and he pulls it out of him, and you see the blood floating. And then
ripping the
also the
iron.
like it doesn't look super
It
good
doesn't
because it
look
was
great.
2003,
Yeah.
but
It's
it
also
looks
not like
fine
it
enough,
looks
and it's
fact that they've
cool
done-
enough. It's cool enough in concept that it's like whatever, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And also, when he escapes his jail cell, which he does by just throwing the metal
Yeah,
balls out, the
he
entire
just
thing destroys
spins
it.
these balls around
He
and
like
throws them out.
flattens one to a plate, stands on it, and then just stands there with his
He
arms
floats
crossed
on it,
like
yeah.
that.
He just stands
He
perfectly
genie
straight,
poses it. Yeah.
and he genie poses. Yeah, it's awesome.
And it's
And then
sick as fuck.
while also he's like rotating the metal balls around
Yeah,
him,
like round
and
it,
then
and
he
starts shooting them.
times it perfectly that he goes from out of the pose to like his hands in front of him, and the balls just hover over it, and then he flicks it, and they go flying and kill the other two guards.
The overarching story of all of these
Crazy.
X-Men films is just that
The
Magneto's
Magneto
the
is
coolest motherfucker in this
sick. Yeah.
entire
Genuinely,
world.
yeah. No,
He's
Magneto
sick
is
as
so
hell.
cool. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
but then he tells Charles to kill the humans instead, so they all start getting ringing their ears.
Right. Yeah. We see like
Earrings.
Stryker.
They
Yeah,
all
rings.
get,
They
He's
they
got
all go to the
ringworm.
Ear
store
piercings.
and they start getting their
He's
ears
got-
pierced.
Yeah, they go to
And then
wherever.
Marshalls.
Then
Right.
Storm and Nightcrawler go back to Professor X after Magneto and Mystique leave, and then they fix everything by making it so cold that Stryker's son can't keep up the illusion of a little girl that Professor X was helping.
Right.
Right,
That little girl
yeah.
fades into obscurity and the boy
She-
dies.
She fades into
He
obscurity.
does die not because the girl fades into obscurity, but because
the lake is
the thing is collapsing
And
because I
nobody
think
saves him.
Cyclops hit.
think-
I think it was a couple things. I think
Mystique
Cyclops
was like
and
sabotaging it, and also
Mystique was sabotaging it, and there was a lot of fighting
there's a
going
lot
on
of
that
factors
damaged
going
it.
on, you know.
Definitely the big laser beam shooting off, and the
Right.
yeah.
whatever, ripping that metal door, whatever, you know, a
but
lot of
my-
stuff happened,
Night-
but it's
Nightcrawler
collapsing
gets-
now.
Nightcrawler
They
gets
say
Storm
they save the one guy in the wheelchair, not the grown child man in the wheelchair though.
Right,
But
they
it's
just
because
leave
he's
him
got
to
he's
get
got two
crushed.
different eyes, so fuck
Right, he
him,
freaks
right?
out by hitting them with the
Racism.
light skin race.
Yeah, I guess.
And he's got
Or it's because Dalton was right and he's brain dead now, so there's no point. Who knows?
Maybe.
Right, both could be true. But then yeah, while they're escaping, Magneto like chains up Stryker like against a helicopter, I think. He just wraps chains all around him and poses them up and then just walks away. It's tough as hell. Pyro joins him at that point, I think, and they all just escape and run off into the sunset, while the X-Men try and escape on.
Yeah, all the X-Men but Wolverine and the little tongue kid who briefly visit Stryker, and they're like you suck. See you, loser. And then they join the X-Men, and then they're like, oh man, the plane won't start,
But that was
and this dam's about to explode.
no, that wasn't.
What are we gonna
Reshoot
do?
Wolverine. Reshoot Wolverine comes back later.
That's the end. Yeah.
Yeah, no. And then they try and take off, but the lake ends up flooding. So Jean Grey.
And
has
then
to go outside and hold it back.
guys, where's Xenia on a top? Where's Xenia? She's on a top. She's
Oh,
spinning
don't-
around.
Dawn, what's the name of that one from Moonraker?
Holly Goodhead.
Holly Goodhead. That's the
Hey,
one.
Dr. Holly
It's a
Goodhead.
my
Right.
bad.
She's a doctor, please.
But yeah, so Jean sacrifices herself to save the
Genia
day.
on a top.
Shut up. And she
she-
uses her Phoenix powers.
She also uses Professor X to talk to Scott, which like it's
Right,
a sweet
yeah, they
scene, but it's also just a
smooch.
little bit weird because you have 90-year-old Patrick Stewart talking to Scott and, like,
as a surrogate for
As a surrogate.
beautiful young Famke Janssen, yeah.
yeah, it's a bit awkward, but
But it's
yeah,
cracked.
she gets crushed under the water, and they have like they
we
then
get
they go
we
see the
get we get
president.
a great little bit of James Marsden's overacting in
The one
this
little bit
scene.
of acting he gets to do in this film.
Right. Uh,
Then they go see the president and they become really
they
theatrical.
they mog the president.
They
They all
mock
get their suits. Iceman and
Iceman and
Rogue
Rogue.
get their
They get their
suits. You
suits.
know,
Yeah,
I'm sure John Pyro would have too, but
he
you
ran
know,
away.
he turned ship. But yeah, they do Professor X does the freeze time thing as the president's about
Yeah,
to
and he
give
basically just
some
says like
speech.
he's
And
just
then,
like,
well, not just that. Storm also makes the weather. It makes it all cloudy, so it's dark, and then there's lightning,
and
so
then
it
gets lightning
can
going, so it can
periodically light
magically
them
just
up.
appear in the
Yeah,
flashes. uh,
it's great.
and they're basically just like,
And
hey,
Nightcrawler is the only one without a costume. He's
yeah,
just
and he's
sitting in
just
the
sitting in
back,
the corner, and he's just
just
like,
waving at him. It's like,
uh,
hey, I tried to kill you.
I almost
and
drove a knife through your neck.
and they're just like, oh, by the way, you're good. We'll protect you. We got you.
Yeah, like, hey, it's cool. We're the X-Men.
We're
We
the
we
X-Men.
got you.
And then they escape, and that's it. Oh, and then you have that scene at the end where Wolverine and Cyclops talk, and he's got the reshoot hair because it's
Yes, we
like
do
big
get the
plastic
only
horns
other scene
essentially.
of yeah, it does just look like a plaster mold of like someone just made a mold of the
It's,
comic hair.
I like to think that they made a plaster mold that they were going to make the wig off of, but then they ran out of time and they were just like, if we just throw it on top of Hugh Jackman's head, maybe
Just
Put
people
that
won't
on.
spray it
notice.
with
Have
glue.
someone paint. Just some people will paint it a little bit. Make it look like there's some hair streaks there, but not too much. You know, and it's
Spray it
good.
much.
Spray it with glue and then roll it down like the center aisle at a barber shop.
I really enjoy the fact that they
Right.
were like, having them all dress up in colorful costumes. That's people aren't going to buy that. Give Wolverine his hair though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give him giant fucking
Like
hair.
I
Alright,
love the idea that
alright,
the
alright.
Wolverine hair isn't far enough, but the costume is suddenly if you put him in a yellow costume, that's too much.
Right.
Well, that's
But
that would then he would look ridiculous, Josh.
Right, yeah, it
All
looks
right,
stupid.
all right. We got to wrap this up. I thought this movie was great. I would highly recommend it to
Yeah,
anyone, especially
good
if you haven't seen it in a
film.
while. This one's so much fun. I don't a bit of it might be nostalgia, but I think this is the one I watched the least as a
Sure.
kid. I really do think
Yeah,
this
it's-
movie's
it's
good. Like
definitely up
it's
there.
very fun.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's just
It's a great
well
movie,
made.
you know. It's just a
For sure, it is. It's legitimately
fun.
just well made.
yeah.
Which is like, I mean, it sounds weird, but a lot of movies aren't nowadays. I guess, I guess, a lot of movies end up being just studio slop, so to speak.
You
And
can
it's
tell
nice to
there's a
have.
vision behind this. It
They
sucks
don't.
that
I
it's
mean,
Bryan Singer's
they don't
vision.
make them like this anymore.
No.
Well, no, it was Solid Snake's vision, right? Because
Well,
did he
he
write this
wrote
one
it,
too?
but Bryan Singer
Yes,
directed
David
it.
Hayter, the voice of
Sure.
Solid Snake in Metal Gear
I
Solid 1,
I
2,
personally
3, and
think
4.
of the writer as
Well,
more of a
I-
visionary than a director, but that's
We
just my
we say the
personal
voice
view.
of Solid Snake. It is the voice of Solid Snake, but we
We?
should just.
you
should
say
just-
that.
We should just say he's the voice of Solid Snake in Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 4, but he's the voice of Big Boss in Metal Gear Solid 3, but not Metal Gear Solid 5.
All right, shut up. That's all.
Well,
We'll see
thank you
next
for
week.
thank you, Josh, for ensuring that no one listens all the way to the end of this.
Somebody just clicked
so
off
yeah.
just now.
That's,
We'll see you
no
next
need
time.
to thank you for watching. Whatever, it's over.
We'll see you on the very next episode of Semi Pro. We're watching X3.
X3, the
X-Men,
last three,
the
the last
last-
X.